Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Qadar of GMS Gulf Coast, and I'd like to start by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh. By Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors are given up to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. A shalom goes to the bishops, the elders, the heads of camps of Great Millstone by and large, as well as Akim, not named GMS, but walking one body, one spirit in Yahweh Shai, preached and teaching 100% truth as it is taught to us all by apostle elders of Great Millstone, as well as calling the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And last but not least, a shalom goes out to the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel scattered throughout the four winds of planet Earth, north, south, east, and west, which consist of men, women, and children, in that order. To you all, shalom. In the news, current events, and this will just be current events in the news with current events. I guess that's a befitting title. In the news with current events, as we tips ever so closely to the end of this man's society, to the end of this man's rulership. And we're going to take a few, we're going to dive into a few news clips here. Mind you, all this is these news clips, they're anyone can watch them. I mean, not copyrighting anything, because certain organizations, they get real sensitive. So if you have any type of cable provider, internet, anything, that type of technology, technical support, all this is public information. Now, having said that, let's get into the subject matter. It says United States, or the U.S. hits Russia with sanctions over 500 targets. Well, here we go again with them sanctions. Talking about, I mean, at this point, you would think they would just let it go, because it's not in no shape, form, or fashion, from the outside looking in. As far as I can tell, those sanctions are doing nothing to Russia. In fact, it's helping Russia in an indirect way. Look at all the nations that are trying to break free of this fiat currency called the U.S. dollar, and trying to join on with those BRICS nations, headed by, Russia, China, India, South Africa, and India. They have over 30 some odd petitions to come and join suit with the quote unquote the new way of doing business. So at this point, man, all this is, I guess this is the United States just trying to save face. I guess that's what you can say at this point, you know what I'm saying? Because what his name, Tucker Carlson, he was over there in Russia, over at one of the supermarkets. One of those stores where the supermarket was actually inside this building, sort of like Target over here. And shit, didn't seem like they was experiencing any type of inflation. It was easy breezy. For lack of better words, it wasn't. They wasn't experiencing a real big hike in groceries, and such as like we're experiencing over here in the U.S. Wages are staying stagnant, but cost of living is going up over here. Russia don't seem to be having those type of problems. That's all I'm saying. And so you have to ask yourself, so what are the sanctions about? It's just, I guess, to make these American eggheads over here, these people are part of these political parties, make them feel better, make them feel good. Or I don't know. Like I said, at this point, it's useless. But anyway, let's let this video play because this is all these sanctions. They're coming after the. It's really in how should I put it? The guy that died in the custody of the Russian government, Falusky, whatever his name is. You know what I'm saying? This is a retaliation tactic. That's all this is. Because I personally believe that he was an informant for the U.S. government. So I guess they got to save face for the family of that particular Russian nationalist. United States got to be trying to show, some type of loyalty. And they're just exposing themselves, to be honest with you. They're exposing themselves by doing stuff like this because those sanctions came right on the heels of this guy coming up dead in that prison over there. You know what I'm talking about? Allegedly he done got caught up. They had the info on him. They got the drop on him over there in Russia. They got the drop on him. I don't know what what's the equivalent to the CIA? KGB, something to that sort. They probably got the drop on him, and knew that he was directly involved with the U.S. government. Allegedly, this is all allegedly now. You know what I'm saying? And put him to sleep. And the after effect is sanctions. Let's let this play.
Remember, the United States pulled together a coalition of more than 50 nations to support Ukraine. We unified and expanded NATO. We can't walk away now.
Yeah, unified and expanded NATO. Mind you, now this is a lot. This has a lot to do with why Russia was standing as a bulldog over there over Ukraine, because they was the United States was violating. I forget that law that they made, but they wasn't supposed to expand. You know what I'm saying? Add any more of those former USSR countries affiliates to NATO. They wasn't supposed to do that, and that has a lot to do with why they up in arms now. You know what I'm talking about? They calling it the Russian-Ukraine war. You know what I'm talking about? But as those people over there in West Asia, they conveniently call it Euro Asia, you know what I'm talking about? Because all that's West Asia when you started going back into the history, you know what I'm talking about? Like the Middle East and all that's West Asia. But you let them tell it over there, they're not at war with Ukraine. They're at war with NATO. And we all know NATO is founded by two major countries, the United States and Canada, going back into the late 50s. But let's let this play. I'm talking a little too much.
Remember, the United States pulled together a coalition of more than 50 nations to support Ukraine. We unified and expanded NATO. We can't walk away now.
President Biden has announced some major sanctions against Russia.
He said you can't walk away now. Because, and I'm gonna stop jumping in here. But I would assume he's saying that because, you got countries like France and Germany, you know what I'm saying, they don't shake your legs, or they've been inquiring behind the scenes, how does this work? You know what I'm talking about? How do we put in the application? So United States is losing friends. So that was kind of a caveat right there. Listen to it one more time. You can't bag out now.
Nations to support Ukraine. We unified and expanded NATO. We can't walk away now.
President Biden has announced some major sanctions against Russia, the largest since President Vladimir Putin's troops invaded Ukraine 2 years ago. So how is this going to impact the war going forward? Rebecca Castor has the latest.
On the eve of a dark anniversary, 2 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Democrats are in Ukraine to reassure President Zelensky that more aid is coming from the United States.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your help.
So like I said, we're going to jump in anymore. About 3 Sundays ago, maybe 2 Sundays ago, the Republicans and the Democrats came to an agreement to send more aid to Ukraine. This was done under the guise of Super Bowl folly. You know, they remember they had that shooting and whatnot. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this wasn't big news that they passed a motion to send more aid to Ukraine during the Super Bowl folliness. You know what I'm talking about? So I don't know if that made headline news or that was a big thing. You know what I'm talking about? I would doubt that it was, because both parties were in agreement with that, and of course they would not want their bases of the people who support them to know these things, and you got a immigrant problem, a migrant problem, you know, I like to call it refugees, because the United States all over the world causing all types of hell and calamity. And what do you get when you get war? You get people displaced, and the only other place to come is right here, because it's the only place that war hasn't struck just yet. You feel what I'm saying? So they called them, quote unquote, illegal aliens. You know, I call them refugees, because everywhere on planet Earth where the United States is at, they're causing hell. You understand? So, of course, they don't want their base, being the Republicans and the Democrats. They don't want their bases to know that they're still up and out of their pockets billions of dollars to send to aid to Ukraine, and at the same time you're giving financial assistance and such to these quote unquote illegals. So you know that's no surprise that Chuck Schumer is visiting Ukraine and giving them assurance that more aid is coming. You Americans, you dumb people, should ask, where is this money coming from? And you still got these commercials up about you ain't got your $6,500 yet from the government. You must be dumb. You dummies need to ask, where's all this money coming from? And when did y'all sit down and come up with another resolution to send them some more money?
Ukraine has managed to reclaim over 50% of its territory captured by Russia, but now they're desperate for more soldiers and weapons. Zelensky telling Fox News the war won't end in Ukraine if they're unsuccessful.
Putin will never stay, will never stop. He will go through Eastern Europe because he wants it, because this is his goal.
President Biden agrees and continues to urge Congress to pass the national security funding package that would send $60 billion to the war-torn country. Friday, he also announced more than 500 sanctions against Russia in response to the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny.
We in the United States are going to continue to ensure that Putin pays the price for his aggression abroad and repression at home.
The sanctions target those connected to Navalny's imprisonment, as well as Russia's financial sector, defense industrial base, procurement networks, and sanctions evaders. It's a major step, but likely not enough to force a loss on the battlefield.
Push Putin back out of Ukraine, have him lose the war, and that would avenge Navalny's death better than any sanctions would.
President Biden says the U.S. is also imposing export restrictions on nearly 100 entities, providing, quote, backdoor support for Russia's war machine. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox 32 Chicago.
Fox 32 Chicago. So they let the cat out the bag for his aggression abroad and at home. Man, they playing this espionage, that all that old stuff that they were doing during the Cold War, man. This stuff done got hot. It done got hot. And mind you, let me say this here. A lot of you, including myself, came along after the Second World War. You know what I'm talking about? So they've been in what they call a Cold War for a long time, you know, with these different, you know, jockeying for position, trying to get different teammates throughout what they used to call it, the League of Nations. Now it's called the United Nations, EU. See, this man knows nothing but war. You understand what I'm saying? Now things have picked up since Mikhail Gorbachev and Reagan. You understand? That wasn't nothing but a photo op. That's all that was, because it had set up the scene for what you're seeing now. The West is moving on those countries that were torn from the USSR. You understand what I'm saying? That's all that was, with a smile and a handshake. You know. Anyway, let's play this other clip real quick. Let's see. All right, let's shift the focus, but it's still the same focus. In the news, current events. Okay. Now, Netanyahu reveals post-war Gaza plans Palestinians reject. And you wonder why? Why are these people? I mean, mind you, this is all fun and games to those in the know, you know. And I'm talking about the men of the Lord. Lord willing, I'm one of those men. Beginning with the apostle elders on down, because this is prophecy. This is a beautiful thing. This proves the scriptures. That's all this is. This is verification, confirmation. You know how you get a flight, you get that confirmation number, verified. This is verifying the scriptures. You know, you see these people, making these bottleneck moves. Talking about, and every time they move, that noose on, that's wrapped around, it gets tighter and tighter. But it's all the will of the Lord. Now listen to this Netanyahu. Listen to this here, because this is the spirit of the so-called white man. Beginning with those with Amalek. You understand what I'm saying? The chief of them. You know what I'm talking about? How can I put this? I said this years back about, it was one of those. Anyway, this is the point. If I can't have it, you can't have it either. You understand what I'm saying? This is how they feel. This is how these people feel. Really, this is their spirit. This man was up on charges, mind you, before all this kicked off this past October. Go do your research. He was being investigated, you understand, brought up on charges. Now that this all hell is broken loose, mind you, it's allegedly all scripted, you know what I'm talking about? He's sitting around here like the hero of the day, but it's going all wrong for these folks, man. You know what I'm talking about? It's going all wrong for Esau Edom. Everywhere they go, you know what I'm talking about, they got some skirmishes going on, you know what I'm talking about? And they fighting a losing battle. If you got ears to hear and eyes to see and a brain to be able to put together what you're seeing, first and foremost, you got to be well versed in these scriptures. The Lord got to be revealing it to you, Then you'll see, man, that they're fighting a losing battle. I don't care if it's the U.S., Ukraine, the Ish people, you know what I'm saying, the JEWISH people. You follow what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. They're fighting a losing battle. And they have come to the assumption, look, if I can't have it, you can't either. You understand? That's their mindset. And it's about to play out in real life. He's about to make some drastic moves. They're coming out talking about, why they ain't talking about these damn cell phones and stuff, how that shit went bad here a few days ago, a day or so ago. Half people's phones going off, the other half going, were going and whatnot. You're not paying attention to these things. It's all going wrong for these people. There's nothing that's working no more. You know what I'm talking about? That playbook that they've been working off of for the last 400, 500, 600 years, whatnot. They done went over the same play so many times that they blitzing them. They getting blitzed on every end. Anyway, let's let this play. Check this out. Israel-Hamas war. Netanyahu reveals post-war. That means after the war. Gaza plan. Palestinians reject. I wonder why.
Live look over at the Israel-Gaza border here as Israel's prime minister is urging that, quote, local officials who are not affiliated with terrorism will govern Gaza after the war. Netanyahu.
Now, that's a broad statement. Those who are not affiliated with terrorism, you can rule. So that means they going to pick who going to rule. That's what that means. You think I'm saying? That ain't nothing but another setup for, what you call them, a stool pigeon or whatever, what you call it when you prop a world leader up, that's all it is. If you know what I'm going, because if the Palestinians want to pick somebody to rule post-Gaza war, this and that, Netanyahu and his government is not going to go along with it. You follow what I'm saying? Always go back to, they want control. You understand? Mind you, Netanyahu, all of them down there in the land that don't belong to him and trying to jock for position. You dig what I'm saying? Don't none of that belong to none of them. And he's out here making this big fuss and all this wrangle and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But hey, it's all good.
You are taking a live look over at the Israel-Gaza border here as Israel's prime minister is urging that, quote, local officials who are not affiliated with terrorism will govern Gaza after the war. Netanyahu presented the security cabinet with his plans for a post-war Gaza, saying the strip must be ruled by people who are not affiliated with Hamas. The Palestinian Authority, though, rejecting the plan as an attempt to, quote, prolong the genocide. In the meantime, the Israeli War Cabinet voting to send a delegation to Paris for a discussion on a deal that would free the remaining hostages that were taken by terrorists back on October 7th and also bring a ceasefire, at least temporarily.
Now, mind you, everybody that the United States and the state of Israel come in contact with and don't go along with them, they're deemed as terrorists. You know that? But now you gotta pay attention now. That's a term in projecting. Let me look this up real quick. That's a term in psychology. They call it okay, hold up.
Here's the definition of projecting: extending outward beyond something else, protruding.
That ain't what I'm looking for. No, projecting.
According to Psychology Today, projection is the process of displacing one's feelings onto a different person, animal, or object. The term is most commonly used to describe defensive projection, attributing one's own unacceptable urges to another.
There it is. See that? It says the term is most commonly used to describe defensive projection, attributing one's own unacceptable urges to another. Let's see what is projecting in psychology. Projecting refers to the unconsciously taking unwarranted emotions or traits you don't like about yourself and attributing them to someone else. A common example is cheating. Okay, that's the point right there. It's unwanted emotional traits you don't like about yourself and attributing them to someone else. And guess what? They, being in that land, don't like the fact that they are not the true people of that land. And all derogatory and hurtful terms and slanderous terms and begrudging terms, they want to put it on the people who it do belong to. And that would be you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All because they mad because they ain't you. So they're projecting a lot of, you know what I'm saying? And let me use that term in the sense that I'm talking. They are the true terrorists, okay? That's why they always using that term to describe anyone that's not in cahoots with them. You understand? That's the very reason why they love to use that term. Let's go back.
Temporarily. Want to talk about all the latest developments here, so let's bring in a special guest, Dr. Melanie Garson, Associate Professor in International Conflict Resolution and International Security at University College London. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, so first off, I do want to talk about this plan that Netanyahu did release over to the cabinet. This is about the post-war Gaza and who will rule it. What essentially do we know now about this plan? And my follow-up question here, does Netanyahu have the authority, the power to decide this?
Of course he do, because guess what? His big brother, United States. These United States of America is going to bag them. You heard what they said. Israel has the right to defend itself by any means necessary. Yeah, I'll go back and listen to those stool pigeon senators and House of Representatives. Go listen to them. Those folks that, quote unquote, you voted in the office. You, quote unquote, voted for your means to fulfill what you need done. You understand? You dumb Americans. You know what I'm talking about? These folk gonna draw you into something, and hey, call Halayim Liar, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All praise, honor, and glory goes to the Most High Yahweh and His Son for that. Because you people deserve to be destroyed, man. You know what I'm talking about? You, whatever goes, people. You know what I'm talking about? You know, democracy first, people, and you know what I'm talking about? Make America great, people. You know what I'm talking about? You people deserve what you get, man. And righteously so, the Lord gonna put it on you. So yeah.
It's a really good question, and it's an interesting plan, and the timing of it as well is particularly critical as they go into another set of negotiations. There's been a big call to say that Israel doesn't have a vision of what day zero looks like in Gaza. The plan fundamentally focuses on no reconstruction without demilitarization, holding a strong security zone also on the Egyptian border. So it required, in this plan, continuing security presence from the Israelis within Gaza until the reconstruction and stabilization has happened. It is a decentralized approach, relying on bringing together a combination.
Now he asked, did he have the authority? You see all this filibustering and whatnot. See all that going all around the world just to answer the question. See, that's why these people got to be put down, man. You know what I'm talking about? That's the very reason why these people got to be put down. You know, that's the very reason why these people got to be put down. As a scripture in the Bible, where it's, I want to say it's in Matthew. Let's see. Well, our Lord and Savior said, let your nay be nay and your yea be yea. Anything else is wicked. Matter of fact, let me grab that real quick. Because, see, that right there lets you know how wicked these people are, man. They're just talking and talking. Let's ask that question again. And let's see if she just say yay or nay. Yeah, he got the right, or no, he don't have the right. You know what I'm talking about? Let's see. Because I could be just jumping the gun. I could be wrong, But I don't think I am. So let's let him ask the question again.
About this plan, and my follow-up question here, does much for taking the time to be here with us.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, so first off, I do want to talk about this plan that Netanyahu did release over to the cabinet. This is about the post-war Gaza and who will rule it. What essentially do we know now about this plan? And my follow-up question here, does Netanyahu have the authority, the power to decide this?
Okay, so I wasn't wrong. He asked, does he have the authority or the power to enforce this? You follow what I'm saying? Now let's see what our answer be.
It's a really good question, and it's an interesting plan, and the timing of it as well is particularly critical as they go into another set of negotiations. There's been a big call to say that Israel doesn't have a vision of what day zero looks like in Gaza. The plan fundamentally focuses on no reconstruction without demilitarization, holding a strong security zone also on the Egyptian border. So it required in this plan continuing security presence from the Israelis within Gaza until the reconstruction and stabilization has happened. It is a decentralized approach, relying on bringing together a combination of figures that would have authority but are distant from Hamas, and not just Hamas, but also from Fatah, from Palestinian authorities, particularly what's been cited, the pay for slay kind of policies, so that to really try and minimize anybody associated with terrorism or the supports of the structures of terrorism within it. And then it sort of moves forward, what would the reconstruction look like? And de-radicalization, and particularly highlights bringing in what would be like-minded countries such on de-radicalization, particularly thinking about Saudi or UAE into this process, although he does not have those commitments yet. And those countries have stated that they, will only see sort of relations in the context of a Palestinian state. So it's a broad-ranging plan, keeping Israel in security control and trying to sort of devolve political control to non-terror associated entities or policies.
There's been a lot of protests, I would.
She didn't answer a damn thing. See that? This is Matthew 5:37, and it reads, "But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil." Man, these folks as wicked as they come. They're wicked as it come. You see what I'm saying? No, he don't have the authority to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Period. But she went through this long, drawn-out explanation of this, that, and the third, and UAE, and this. And now, they did mention something that was interesting, and we're going to grab it real quick. What did they say? What she call it? What do they call it? Reconstruction. Not reconstruction, but what would they call? God dang. I don't even want to pull it. I don't want to wind it back. Reconstruction. Google the definition of the word reconstruction in political terms.
Civil War, and during which attempts were made to redress the inequities of slavery and its political, social, and economic legacy, and to solve the problems arising from the readmission to the Union.
Okay, let's do that again. Google the definition of the word reconstruction dealing with a political term. Let's see. Reconstruction. I'm just going to read the definition real quick. This reads, Reconstruction era was a period in United States history following the American Civil War, dominated by the legal, social, and political challenges of abolishing slavery and reintegrating the former Confederate States of America into the United States. During this period, 3 amendments were added to the United States Constitution to grant equal rights to a newly freed slave. Despite this, former Confederate States often use polls, taxes, literacy tests, and intimidation to control coloreds. Okay, that is not what I want. Okay, here we go. What is the definition of reconstruction? A, the action of reconstructing, the act or process of rebuilding, repairing, or restoring something. Restoring. Reconstruction efforts to repair hurricane damage. Okay, to restore. Refreshing period. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, let's look at some of these comments. To be a realist in Israel, you have to believe in miracles. David Ben. That's some of that Yiddish. Local officials not affiliated with terrorism. In other words, nobody. I said the same thing. See what I'm saying? Nobody. In other words, they're going to put somebody in, you know what I'm talking about? This ain't nothing but another ploy for land grab, you know what I'm saying? For territorial grab. That's all it is. That's all it is. And what it says, they're going to try to restore. That's all it is, talking about some reconstruction. You know, the process of rebuilding, repairing, or restoring something. Okay, the fact that Netanyahu has the choice regarding which officials govern Gaza basically says it all. Yeah. People don't seem to understand that that even if no one is there, this still will go on just like Iraq. Oh, and I'm gonna tell you something about those wars that went on in Iraq and Afghanistan. That shows you that the West is losing. You got to be there 20 years to subdue a people with all this modern technology and your advancement and weaponry and whatnot and military advances and when they show you Afghanistan, Afghanis or whatnot, they show you men dressed like in the old age and in the ancient days, walking around sheep with sheep and shit, and you can't defeat them. You Americans better wake up. I don't believe America won a war. I'm joking, but hey, they on the lose. America on the losing team. Okay, Roger Waters of Pink Floyd was critical of Israel. They could have organized a boycott of his music. Whatever. Let's see. War Babies. Anyone remember their names? They maliciously were brought into his universe, miraculously brought into this universe, and left in a blink of an eye. They witnessed our brutality. Ooh, boy. Does Netanyahu have the authority? What an idiotic question. But it wasn't answered. The question was never answered. Let's see. Don't forget that he is the Prime Minister of the U.S. Congress, too. He is the most powerful man in the United States and UK. Hey, you can't argue with that. I have to agree. I would have to agree. He is. Let's see. I'm going to read a few more of these. Yes, a few more. Look at this here. Netanyahu should plan his retirement. His days are numbered. Yep. Well, it's too late to try to plan a retirement. All you so-called white folks, your days are numbered. It's too late for that. The old saying, you know what I'm saying? You've done too much to turn around now. You've done too much to turn around now. This is Job. This is Job chapter 14, verse 4, and it reads, "Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? No one." Matter of fact, you know what? Let me grab this right here. Yeah, you can't. Hey, you simply cannot. You simply cannot. And I've been grabbing this scripture here lately a lot. It says, for a point of time, it says, this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4, and it reads, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. The just is going into the elect of the nation of Israel on this side. But his soul is not upright in him. His soul is not upright in him. So let's go back to Job 14 real quick. And verse 4, and it says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? No one. No one can. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? The Lord set it up that way. This man, he's upside down as far as his soul is concerned, as far as his spirit is concerned. Matter of fact, let's get Psalms 52. And verse 2, and it reads, thy tongue deviseth mischief like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness, Selah. So no, there ain't nothing you can do about that. He is what he is. No, he's not gonna change. Let me go back to Job 14. Because what it says right there, Netanyahu should plan his retirement. His days are numbered. This is Job chapter 14 and verse 5, and it reads, seeing his days are determined. And the number of his months, it says, the number of his months are with thee, talking about the Most High. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. And see, the Lord had to put down boundaries for this clown, because guess what? There ain't nothing outside what there ain't nothing he won't do. Contrary to the belief of a lot of you so-called blacks in particular, you know what I'm talking about, and you Native Americans and you Hispanics. You believe, oh, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't dare do that. You people are sadly mistaken. The Most High to put bounds, because this man, there ain't nothing he won't do. You understand? There ain't nothing he won't do. So that had to be bounds set for this clown. You understand? There had to be. You know? And the hell with what you think. He wouldn't do that. You don't know nothing. That's why you getting ready to gear up for this 2024 election, which might not even happen. Go figure. This is Jeremiah chapter 49, and I'm going to close out with this because it's been going on a little bit long. And I'm going to start at verse 7, and it reads, because like I was speaking earlier about that playbook, man, they've been doing the same things over and over. When you read his history and check his track record, you know what I'm talking about? The man is literally doing the same things over and over. The Boston Tea Party. You remember that? The Boston, when they had dressed up like Gad? You know what I'm talking about? These people still do that. They put on these lifelike masks and stuff, you know what I'm talking about? These masks range from anywhere from $500 to $5,000. Make you transform you into anybody you want to look like and whatnot. That's a play out of the old playbook. You're not privy to it because you're a shallow thinker. You don't go into history. You don't check his track record. He too busy giving you advancements at jobs and whatnot, giving you promotions and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? You know, so of course you ain't looking for these things. You looking for the next handout. But literally, this man is dumb. And we're gonna close out on this. This is Jeremiah 49 and 7, and it reads, concerning Edom, the so-called white man, thus said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? These folks are stupid, man. And now they in these endless wars that they can't win. You know what I'm talking about? You don't think that's smart? These people, these heads of states of these other countries, and these countries are powerful, man. These little bitty countries booting up at America. And they all getting on the same team, you know what I'm talking about? You know? And these proud devils can't see the fact that they losing. You ain't finna win this one. So this scripture is very befitting of the behavior of the so-called white man nowadays. Again, Jeremiah 49 and 7, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Huh? Is that wisdom vanished? Yep. Let's see. This is verse 10. It says, "But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself." That's why they going for broke. It's all or nothing now. Netanyahu sitting up here on a world stage talking about, basically, without saying it directly, that they going to put who they want in charge down there in them lands, in the southern land, Palestine, right there in Israel. And guess what? Little big brother United States going to go right along with it. Yep. It says, "But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brother and his neighbor, and he is not. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken." Talking about us, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, because all we had to do was go along with the first plan, a covenant that the Lord set up. But no, you want to be like these heathens. Okay, it says, "For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it." And the Lord is preparing a cup for him, 2 cups, overflowing. So he going into slavery. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, they fighting wars. Just go back and look at their past wars where they cut and ran. Vietnam. The Korean, the sugar wars. Go look at these wars. The Bay of Pigs. They supposed to went down there and oust Fidel Castro. Man, that's been plan after plan after plan. Man, these folks been done. They been done. But they got the power and the resources and the platform to play it off. They own all the publications and all the mainstream news platforms. So they can fixate lies in your mind and give you stimulus money and grants and promotions and whatnot. So you'll forget about all these failed attempts that these people have tried to do over the years. Anyway, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh, that Basra, and Basra was a territory in Mount Seir. And guess what? America is that modern day Basra. That Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse. And all the cities thereof shall be perpetually waste. I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and that word rumor goes into a report. You know what I'm talking about? I've heard a report. Matter of fact, let's grab it real quick. Let me grab that real quick. That's just the let's see, I heard from the Lord ambassador sent amongst the heathen. Let's see if I grab the right one. I've heard it hit it right here.
Strong's H 8052. Shemuah. And second entry, Shema'ah. And third entry, Shema'ah.
And it goes into report, news, rumor, an announcement. I have heard an announcement from the Lord, a report. Verse 14, Jeremiah 49 and 14, I have heard a rumor, an announcement, or a report from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her, and rise up to the battle. And that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing, man. Even the little nations, you know what I'm talking about? These public officials over here, these senators and House of Representatives, talking big talk, man. You know, some 6,000-7,000 miles away from the heat of the battle, man. You know what I'm talking about? They talking real tough. We're gonna get Afghanistan. We're gonna get Syria, we're gonna get Iraq, Iran. You know what I'm talking about? They talking real bold over here, man. You know what I'm talking about? But guess what? These folks over there, they ready. They ready. Verse 15, for lo, I will make thee small amongst the heathen and despised among men. And everybody hate these, especially these cross the pond Edomites, so-called white folks. Don't nobody like them. Nobody. They can sit back and sniggle and sit and eavesdrop on your conversations and whatnot. But hey, he who laughs always laughs the loudest. And the most beautiful thing about it is that these devils don't think they're gonna be taken down. They just, they just comfortable. They real comfortable, man. Proud, man. Proud. And that just makes it that makes that downfall that much more sweeter. Anyway. I'm going to close out with that there. Lord, when it was edifying, I'm going to close out by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the Apostle Elders of Great Millstone. This has been another in the news and current events. With that, Shalom.